Jalen Hurts is, as we all know, spent some time in Alabama. How's that for a turn?
Roll Tide.
And one of his successors is joining us right now in advance of Alabama's game against Mercer. Jalen Milroe of Alabama Crimson Tide football. Good to see you, Jalen. How are you? Nice to meet.
Hey, nice to meet you. How you doing?
I am doing better for talking to you.
Appreciate you.
I just saw an old colleague and friend of yours over in Germany, Bryce Young. Just watched him play.
Yeah.
And so you backed him up for a while until you got your time. What did you pick up from Bryce Young in those years?
Absolutely. So I backed up Bryce for 2 years. And one thing that I got to speak about is our friendship, number one. I think that was so important as a guy who left the state. We both left the state. We understand what it means to be the Alabama cornerback. And he set a great example for the room with how his leadership was, how he prepared, how he, influenced the guys in the room. And then importantly, he was a captain as well. So his influence on the team was something special. And then also with the knowledge that he had, with him being a starter from the time frame that I've been in college, he was able to, be a positive influence around the guys in the room, which was me, Paul Tyson, Ty Simpson, and the guys that were a part of our team with the time frame when he was here. And so I thought I was awesome just to be around him, learn, and just try to grow as much as possible. And something that I learned since I've been in here with the new staff with Coach DeBoer. Coach Sheridan asked the players, one of our spring practice, he said, "Hey, how many reps did you get today?" And the player, he was thinking like in his head, he's trying to count his hand, like how many reps he had. He said, "I'll stop you right there." He had all of them, a mental rep and a physical rep. So although I wasn't the QB1 in a sense, I was always getting a rep. I was always trying to get better in a sense of taking a mental rep and a physical rep whenever I'm in. So I thought it was just so important when it comes to development, when it comes to growth, it's just watching the guy in front of me who did it at a great rate.
Yeah, I mean, does he still? Are you still in contact with each other, you and Bryce?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the interesting thing is, I guess you and him going through a similar experience this year, having a completely new coaching staff coming in, maybe changing, offenses, terminology, and things like that. How have you been able to, appearingly, from my perspective, seamlessly transition with Kalen DeBoer, Jalen?
Absolutely. I think the best thing that throughout the offseason that you have phases throughout offseason. And so I try to branch it out into 4 phases. Number one, you have the fourth quarter period where you're installing plays and you're just getting familiar with, who's our team, who's on offense, who's on defense. You have all these areas of guys that, fill into the roles. Then you have spring ball, then summer, then you have fall camp. And so within those time frame, you have so much opportunity to understand the system, understand our personnel, who's going to be what our strengths, what are our weaknesses. And what's unique about the offseason is there's no shot clock, there's no game clock. So you have so much time to pour into the guys, pour into what we need to be as an offense. And so I think that's something that's credited to how we play on offense and just the confidence level. It just comes from the offseason, it comes from preparation, it comes from just growth with the time frame, just learning from our coaching staff, learning from the guys that's been a part of the Washington group. And we have some guys on roster that came there that's on part of our offense. So it's so important for us just to keep on learning, keep on growing, and just keep understanding, what makes us unique.
Did you connect with Michael Penix Jr. at all, Jalen?
So he came down here. So he did the Reese Bowl, and he came down to campus, and I was able to talk to him then. I was able to meet him then. That was my first time meeting him.
Yeah, I was about to see if he gave you any, sort of guidance, any thoughts about the DeBoer system, and clearly what he thrived in and then wound up being a top 10 pick in the NFL, which is exactly what I imagine would be your plan as well. Certainly playing in a national championship game on top of it, Jalen, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
He's smiling already. Yeah, I know.
You already know the mission, but I think you're judged in your last snap, and so why I say that is that the last quarterback that was in the system was a great quarterback in Michael Penix. So that's something that we saw as far as installation is the previous offense at Washington, seeing how explosive they were, how they weren't one-dimensional, and that's something that we are as well. It's not one-dimensional, and there's so many, plays, so many things that we can do that can be explosive. We talk about ball dominance, explosiveness, and details. That's where we, simplify the offense into those pillars, and that's going to allow us to be, the best offense we can be. But that's something that they did at a high rate when he was there at Washington. And, of course, that's something that you got to do as far as being an explosive offense is to be detail oriented. And that was some things that they did with the Washington offense. And they definitely, spoke about, what made it fun. And so I'm definitely having fun in the offense, and I'm looking forward for more uh, fun ahead.
Jalen Milroe of Alabama football right here on the Rich Eisen Show. And obviously losing 2 of 3 in that stretch is one thing. But since that loss to Tennessee, we do the math for everybody here. Combined victories 76-13 over 2 ranked teams, Missouri, and then what you just did against LSU. Is something clicking here that you feel you could take through the end of the season? And if you do get a chance to play for the SEC championship and maybe even make it into that final 12, Jalen?
So I think when we separate, what has taken place throughout the season, all of our losses turn into a lesson, right? And look at, how we can get better, look in the mirror. And the one thing that we look at is that no one's gonna feel bad for us. We got to keep on grinding. We got to keep on attacking our goals. At the very beginning of the season, we set short-term goals and long-term goals that we want to accomplish as a football team, right? So we got past the short-term goals. It's getting closer to the long-term goals we set in the offseason, and all of them are within reach. And it's going to come from great preparation. It's going to come from the commitment level of everybody on the team, the discipline, the effort, the pride that we play in, and understanding that it takes all of us as a whole group and come together as one, a one mentality, one group, one heartbeat. All the cliche terms you can think about, it's so important for us. And so, all our goals are still there. We just have to prepare the right way. We have to understand that whatever is our weakness, we have to turn to a strength. All our strengths make it even stronger. And that's how we narrow the gap between being a good football team into an excellent football team that can go on to win championships, go on to win more games, because we acknowledge it. The SEC is a very hard conference. Each and every week that we play a team, we have to give our best us. No matter if we're on a home game, whether we're on a road, it's going to be a tough opponent. And so it's all about doing what makes us the best team that day, which is the preparation, which is going 1-0 each and every day, which is understanding what makes us unique, understanding what our team values are, and never do anything that's going to discredit the football team and look that's against what we need to do to be successful.
Jalen Milroe, a few minutes left with the Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback prior to taking on Mercer, and then finishing up at Oklahoma. And then there's always that Iron Bowl that lurks out there before potentially an SEC championship game and beyond. The calendar year began with you out here in Southern California in the Rose Bowl. Jalen, did you have any sense that could have been Nick Saban's last game when you took the field in Pasadena that day, Jalen?
Not at all. It was definitely a surprise for all of us. And as we reflect, it was just a shocker for everyone. And yeah, it was definitely something we did not anticipate or see coming. Yeah, so it was definitely a shocker for all of us.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. And the what did he do for you, do you think, Jalen?
Number one, he gave me opportunity. A high school recruit coming from Texas, having the opportunity to play quarterback here at the University of Alabama, I'll always be appreciative of that. And him seeing something in me, right? With all the guys that's in the country, he saw something in me to be the only quarterback selected in the 2021 recruiting class and recruited me to Alabama. And I was a guy that was committed to other school. So he saw something unique in me to get me to come to Alabama, and I was always be appreciative of that. That's number one. Number two is the example that he set each and every day with what right looks like and the standard of excellence that we all want to accomplish. No matter if it's football, no matter if it's our life, it's just the standard of excellence and how disciplined he is with each and everything that we put our mind to. That's number two. And number three is the commitment level to whatever your goals are. I think that's so important. As you go through a path of life, it's going to be hardship. There's going to be things that are going to get you weary in the process, but it's always the commitment to understand why you do something. What is your why? What is your purpose? What drives you? And it's something that's refocuses and is an emphasis, as being the quarterback here at Alabama. And so those are the three things. I can say a bunch of things, but I was to narrow it down to those things. That's what I always will be appreciative of and always understand, that I'll always be appreciative of Coach Saban.
And I'm going to ask you a question I've asked many of your predecessors, Jalen. Mac Jones, I've asked this of Tua, I've asked this of Jalen Hurts, a bunch of Alabama players who weren't even playing quarterback. So this is not just reserved for you. But what is the most pissed off you ever made Nick Saban? Jalen.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
The most pissed off I ever made Coach Saban. So early on, and when I was I think I was a freshman or sophomore. I think I was a freshman.
Okay.
So I was backing up, and we were finishing up a rack. So my first three racks, I'm talking about, were good. I threw a corner route, which was a good ball. The second play I scrambled, got a positive down. The third play was a good play. So I'm feeling good. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling good. And my last rack of the team period, I dropped back. Our defense does a lot of disguises. Playing Coach Saban's defense is very hard.
Yep.
And you have to understand the tail, understand where the defense is tilted, all that good stuff. And so I dropped back. I threw the ball. It was picked. And as a competitor, I'm like, dang, like, man, this is tough. Like, worrying about me. Like, man, everybody hates throwing picks. No one likes throwing picks. And so I threw a pick, and I didn't chase the ball. And while I threw the ball, I was on the right hash. I threw the ball to the left side of the field. So the ball was always to the left, and it was picked off. And I was always on the right hash. I didn't chase the ball down. And where he was standing at, he was standing on the left side of the field. He went from the left side of the field, right side of the field, yelled at me all the way where he was at, came down, ran with me to where the ball ended up going to, screamed at me all the way there, screamed at me some more, walked off, came back, screamed at me, and said that if you don't chase the ball down, you'll never play here.
Woo, wow.
Message received, I imagine? Yeah?
100%. 100%. Next time I go, chase that ball down.
Wow.
Chase that ball down. Well, you should be happy to know that every single one of your predecessors had a similar story about that, and but all had a similar reaction to you, which is like, okay, message received, hard coaching, it's all good, and but none of them have what you can say that you were the last quarterback Nick Saban ever had at Alabama, which has got to be pretty cool for you. Obviously, there's lots more of road for you to travel, but that's pretty cool, Jalen, when you think about it.
Absolutely. So when we're going through that transition period, it was definitely tough. Of course, losing the Rose Bowl, the transition, Coach Saban retiring. And the person that actually mentioned that to me was my parents. And they were like, have you ever thought about, man, like, it's going to go down this history that you was, Coach Saban's last quarterback. I didn't even think about that. I was like, man, it's awesome. And then also just, I'm his last quarterback to win the SC championship. So it's so much positive, that we can turn from a negative that occurred in the offseason.
Well, and it's all going to be positive for you at the next level as well, because it does, hard coaching, great coaching definitely translates, it prepares you and all of that. So I guess last question for you, and I know it's kind of awkward to ask this because you have so much left of this season for your time there in Alabama, but what would a team in the NFL watching you right now get if they drafted Jalen Milroe at some point? What would they get?
I think, honestly, as I narrow it down, it's all about commitment, discipline, and never having to worry that Jalen's going to do what's needed for the team. Everything is centered around the team, whether it's the game plan, whether it's handing the ball off, throwing the ball, using my legs. It's nothing that I wouldn't do that's for the team, doing, what's my requirement, which is my best. And all I want to do is be a positive reflection of the whole football team. And I think that's the biggest thing that I try to play the game and doing what's required of my job, And I just truly believe that it's not one dimensional as far as the passing game, the running game, just doing what's best of me and doing what's required for us to win. That's all I want to do is win and do what's best for the football team, and just send around guys, collectively to just being team oriented and detail oriented, whatever it comes. And so I think just the commitment level, never wavering from that, and just having also a great support system around me. So there's nothing that's going to distract me, get me weary in the process. It's all about just staying grounded, remaining humble as much as possible, and nothing distracting me from my path.
I love it. And I know, I guess you've got lots on your plate, but do you peak at a game like tonight with Jaden Daniels, Commanders, Jalen Hurts, Eagles? Do you peak at a game like that a little bit tonight, Jalen?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Because both of them are my guys. I talked to both of them. I talked to JD and I talked to Jay Hurts. So this is a tough game to watch because, like, man, I want both of them to succeed. But luckily, the best thing about it, they both play quarterback, so I just want them the balls. They don't play against each other.
I like that. I know exactly. You mind if I pry and ask what do you talk to those guys about, Jalen?
So honestly, JD and I, it's just a personal level. It just we have a friendship. I talk to him each and every week, just tapping in with him. He actually, texted me before and after the LSU game, just tapping in and just getting his perspective. And I just see Jay Hurts as a big brother. Just checking in, giving words of wisdom, words of advice. That's always needed. Of course, he's doing it at a very high level. And as a guy that's inspired to play at the next level and see so much great leaders, great quarterbacks in front of me, to have someone in him who's from Texas, that's from my neck of the woods, and understands what it takes to be a quarterback in the National Football League and to be a leader. And so I just learned so much from him. And so both of those guys, I definitely cherish both of those relationships, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and obviously Jalen's story, right, with what happened at your school, and him sticking through it. And going somewhere else when he had to, and then becoming the guy in Philadelphia, not just generationally enriched, but being the guy there. It's an incredible story. I'm glad that you guys are connected, Jalen.
Oh yeah, no,
That's cool.
absolutely. Absolutely. I learned so much from him, and just how it is, just never getting weary in the process and just staying committed to your goals.
Jalen, I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you throughout the rest of your tenure there in Alabama, and I have a feeling I might see you in Indianapolis very soon, next year, potentially, when it's time for next level. But in the meantime, enjoy the level you're on right now, and it's been a pleasure chatting. Thank you.
So thank you. I appreciate you.
Right back at you. It's Jalen Milroe of Alabama Crimson Tide football right here on the Rich Eisen Show. What an absolute delight.
That was great. Yeah.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.